The last day of the month of February. God has been good. We are thankful for life. In the midst of everything or anything, we give thanks. God has been good. God has been faithful. Nobody can keep his or herself alive. So to be here, God has been intentional about looking after us and looking out for us. So we're grateful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Synergy Homes, Trusting, welcome. Nice to have you here. Mind your character. Awesome. Okay, so we are in for a beautiful time. Yes, it is the very last show in the month of February. And someone was saying on radio while I was driving earlier today that so this is the last day in the month of love. that could mean for some people that love, showing of love ends today. And then she said that she really thinks that love should be celebrated every day. And I totally agree that even though we call a certain time month of love, it shouldn't spell the beginning and the end of expression of love for those who are important to you. So yes, welcome to last day in February, the month of love, but welcome to forever love for your loved ones, for family members, for your friends, for your community, and for everyone that you cherish. So I take my stand with that broadcaster that said it should be every day. I truly think that Valentine's Day should be every day in your experience. In how it is commemorated globally, it can be February 14th every year, but not in your experience. In your experience, it should be every day. So I've been discussing since this month began on character, love, and relationships. Character, love, and relationships. And it's been very, very eye-opening for me. You know, the thing about anyone who takes a tutorial in school, you know, when you take tutorials in school and somebody is the one leading, champion or anchoring the tutorial, one of the benefits for them is that it makes them learn more. You might not know, you might think that they are just teaching everybody. They are also learning more, they are getting to understand more. So it happens to trainers like that every time you have an opportunity to research a topic, to teach a topic, it makes you delve deeper. That's one of the blessings of teaching. So if you are the type that doesn't teach people, you will not know as much as you should know. So I said that because I've learned a lot this month from studying character as it relates to love and relationship. How important is love? Great woman, great to see you. Annie. So honestly, character is very important to love and relationships. And when we started in the month, I did say that this wasn't just about a particular class of love relationship. It had to do with every single type of relationship. And a number of times we benchmarked it on marriage and what you call serious relationship, the ones tending towards lifetime commitments like marriage. So this month so far we've been able to look at, is love automatic? And you know, somebody tell, are you okay? What kind of question is that? Yes, so even in marriage, is love automatic? Does it mean that because you are a man and the Bible said thou shalt love your wife as Christ loved the church, does it mean that automatically you have the anointing to love her? We also asked, is it automatic for the woman to be submissive, our own expression of love? We found out that there is the automatic aspect and there is the conscious commitment-based aspect. And we did say that the automatic could be called chemistry. The conscious one could be called character building. So you build the qualities. And we did that for 1 or 2 weeks. And then we went looking at qualities that might strengthen, that can and would strengthen your relationships. And we mentioned a number. Last week we mentioned trust. We mentioned trust, we mentioned respect, we mentioned like 3 or 4, and the topic was character traits you should build that will strengthen your relationship. So is character important to marriage? That was how we started when this month started, and we were able to answer categorically yes. And character in this sense refers to those values that build your relationship, those things that make your relationship start, continue, and not conclude, because we don't pray that any marriage will be concluded. So you consummate, you continue, and then you keep putting in commitment. There is no end to commitment when it comes to relationships, and especially marriage. And then we answer the question also, is the capacity to love automatic, or are there things that makes it easier for someone to love the other person? That's the truth. There are actually things that can make you lovable, make you adorable. There are things you can do and persons you can be. So there's job to be done. So love might chemistry wise be automatic in a relationship, but where you are going on, there must be more than just the feelings. There must be more than just what you felt, the initial feeling, the butterflies, like people say. I've never seen that butterfly, but I think what they mean is that initial feeling of I can't do without you. And then before you go into the progress of the journey and you find out that this thing needs much more. So we went ahead and we talked about how intentional you should be about the conscious aspect of loving people in your life. We went ahead and said that it was important for you to be intentional about it. So that means that you should not put your love on autopilot. Can love be put on autopilot, or must it be consciously developed continuously? To put your love on autopilot is to assume when you put anything on autopilot, you believe that you have built the mechanism that will run it whether you do something or not. The truth is, from experience and from learning and research, I found out that that doesn't work for anything that has to do with human beings. You cannot put your customer service on autopilot entirely, for instance, because there will always be things that make people different from time to time. And so they say behavioral patterns of buyers do change. So even when you make tech a backup for your customer service, I'm using as an example, there will be moments where you need to put in the human element. It's the same for relationships. So that character part helps you build those qualities, build those values and those traits that you need to make your relationship to work. So never you put your love on autopilot. Don't do it. If you put your love on autopilot, let me tell you the things that begin to happen. It will begin to feel to the other person like you're taking them for granted. Certain things will become so common and so usual to you, they don't even tickle you anymore. Why? Everything seems like, oh yeah, we already know. I know what will happen. When this is next, I know what will happen. You should be predictable, but then you should be unpredictable. Be predictable about things that should be consistent about you. Predictably trustworthy. That's a good one. Predictably respectful. Predictably honorable. Predictably committed. And all of those great ones. Be predictable. You can put those ones if you like. They are not still on autopilot because the thing must increase. It cannot be the same. You cannot put it. It can't be the same commitment you had when you married that you are putting 20 years after. It would have fizzled out. So it must grow with the years of the relationship if you truly want to have a continuous Valentine's Day. Like you want every day to be Valentine's Day for you and your partner. Whether it's already consummated marriage or about to, or even any other category of relationship you can have. So don't put your love on autopilot. Don't put your love on autopilot. Don't put your love on autopilot. The next thing I'm going to say is that in not putting your love on autopilot, there are a few things that you should not be predictable around. Don't be predictable with surprises. It's part of the thing, you know, it tickles. It's part of the excitement. It's part of the experience. You know, again, I'm going to ask you to remember what customer service is around experience. So we'll talk about customer service and experience. You say that People will always wow you, so always wow one another. That one cannot be predictable. They should not know that, oh yeah, he's going to buy me boxers, oh yeah, he's going to buy me a phone. It shouldn't be. It has become monotonous and predictable. That doesn't work. So all of these things are character traits, and they empower your relationship. They help your relationship. They put you on your feet because it is work. And everyone must get their hands busy making it happen. So creating surprises is one of the things that we must maintain in our relationship. I know there are traits that make you want to be like that. For instance, never feel too old to be your husband's girl or to be your wife's boy. Those things are intentional. Honestly, the truth is that you are getting older. Okay? So the truth is that you are actually getting older. Your age is counting. Oh, thank you. Dr. Ralph S. James says it's part of the joy. Yes. Yes. So you can be in your 50s, you can be in your 60s, you can even be in your 70s. But you see, there's an ideology that you must run with if you are not going to put your love relationship on autopilot. Character development is one of the things that keeps you on your feet. You keep developing the element of surprise, the element of specialty, the element of newness, so when they talk about the new wine in your marriage, these are not things you just sit down and wish for. They are things that you work on. Emphasis on work now makes you see that there's something I must be doing that is creating the beauty that I am enjoying. And may I warn here, I'm warning quickly that when you are doing all of these things for your relationship, it is primarily for the joy and benefit of both of you. Yes, people might eventually see it, but they are not the main issue. So it's not always about showing off. It's not always about, oh, let them see that we are cool, power couple. That will happen whether you like it or not, except people don't notice you, or except if you don't mentor anybody, it will happen. But make sure that you are not doing things for the cameras, because again, that could be deceptive. You could begin to hurt one another internally, but looking like the best thing that ever happened to people externally. That is not character. So live your life, do the great things you do in your relationship because you want to have a fulfilled experience and you want it to be better by the day. So if you are a man and you know that you don't know anything about any element of surprise, it means that for you, the biggest thing you can do is to try to pull a surprise. As simple or difficult as that can be for you. You know, that thing that makes you want to do what's not common or regular with you. So some people say, oh, this is me, accept it. That is predictable. And you are predictable around the thing you should not be predictable, at least not entirely. So once in a while, you should attempt to do it. And that will really stand out. That is when it stands out. And that's when people are like, wow, this is not this person usually. You went all the way to do this. So we must understand that our love should not be put on autopilot. What should we do? Because this is a talk around character, love, and relationship. How some beautiful character traits can strengthen better your love and relationship experience across board. And one of the major things I'm saying is not to build character around your love is to attempt to put it on autopilot. It may crash eventually. If you think of it as an aircraft, it might eventually crash if you leave it on autopilot, unattended to, not doing the things you should do, or pushing yourself beyond the borders. Who says that at the age of 80, you cannot still plan to wow your wife? So but if you already carry the wrong mindset, we are getting old, let's leave this for the younger ones, you are going to kill your relationship instrumentally. Because the entire thing about love requires that specialty feeling to be revived and be honed over and again. So this month also we have looked at different words that talk about love, different interpretations, different versions and synonyms of the word love. You know, fondness, So how fond are you still? And all of these words are all adjectives. I mean, many of them are nouns, but they lend credence to the actions you need to take. So fondness, tenderness, warmth, intimacy, attachment, endearment. All of these things tell you something about what the love factor is in your relationship and how important love is in the entire thing. So, capacities that you need to develop to strengthen your love. We looked at respect, we looked at trust, we looked at commitment. Honestly, for me, another word for love, when it is beyond just the feeling thing, is commitment. And commitment, like I said last week, makes you do things when it is not comfortable for you. But you are going out of your way just because of the value that you tie to your relationship with that person. Honesty and communication is another thing we mentioned. Compassion or empathy, awesome, very important. And there's an aspect of humility that continues to strengthen relationships. So you are not in a relationship with people to lord it over them or to dominate them. You are there to be the shoulder they need. They don't have to be crying for them to have shoulders, because I hear a lot, shoulders to cry on or something. To lean on, leaning on, trusting that you catch them, trusting that they have your hearing and the rest of them. Beautiful things, but humility or the absence of it can decide how that goes. So if a man gets to a point where he just gets prideful about the fact that he is fending for the family, he's working his heart out to get the family to be sustained economically, and when he takes that too much out of proportion, he begins to feel like nothing else in this home is as important as what I'm doing. That's prideful, because if you are humble, you will know that the woman who stays back at home and ensures that the home front is well managed isn't doing lesser than you are doing. Everybody's just operating in their functional aspects. It's not a case of whose is stronger than the other. It's complementary. At that moment where we understand that, oh, it's complementary, we honor one another, we submit to one another, and then we get things going. Very, very important. Very, very important. So, submission and love can be automatic sometimes, but they can only be kept going with commitment. Commitment is the key word. We've been looking at different sides of these things since the month began. And I just wanted to draw a conclusion around all of this today, so that our love life in relationship can continue to be better. So let's look at a few other things that you can do to make your relationship strong as I bring this to a wind today. It's called flexibility and compromise. Flexibility and compromise, compromise is a noun word, but it tends towards a verb action to compromise. Flexibility is also a noun word that tends to say to be flexible. So you can say that someone is a flexible person. Let's talk about flexibility and how it helps relationships. There are a lot of things we would think to be fixed and given as far as maybe homes, relationships, and all are concerned. But the character trait called flexibility is what helps you when you need to allow a compromise to prevail. And the word compromise is not always a negative word. It just takes the character or the form of what the issue at hand requires. So for instance, if you need to have a compromise around allowing something to happen for your partner that will ordinarily not be allowed, and then you understand the place of flexibility in your relationship, you find yourself being able to, after thinking of it properly, say that, okay, so you can have that. That can be in the interest of you. So in flexibility, one of the things you are thinking of is not just how it benefits you as the other party, but how it benefits the person who is directly affected and how it benefits both of you in all. So that is very, very crucial, and it is one great trait or quality or value that you should develop. When you're in a relationship and you are so rigid, that's the opposite of flexibility. When you are so rigid around things, oh no, we don't do it like this where I come from, oh no, my religion doesn't permit this, even at moments when you are supposed to take a cursory look at that thing and then be able to allow a compromise. When you are rigid and you are unwavering, rigid and unwavering, you find out that you are seldom able to be there for your partner at moments when they need you to just put in a compromise. Apart from partner, love between parents and children, that also happens. A number of times your children want you to compromise on a thing or the other. So all you need to do is give it a very deep look, reasoning with them, and then seeing how much of compromise can be allowed for their own good and for the good of all. So when it comes to compromise based on flexibility in any relationship, one of the things to always check is whose benefit, and particularly when it's for the common good, then that's something to allow. I mentioned communication last week, but perhaps I should remind us again that openly communicating everything helps everyone's relationship, everyone in the relationship, whether it's a love relationship or it's a relationship that has to do with other persons. There is always capacity to clear out misunderstanding or any form of assumptions. So assumptions are nipped in the bud when you communicate openly. That's very, very important. Then I'm going to mention another trait that is so important. If you look at what happens on social media today, you find the huge absence of this thing I'm about to mention, and it's called consideration. So consideration will seem as if it has almost the same meaning as flexibility, but it's not. To be flexible is to be able to come to that point where you are even willing to converse around something that seems to already have a sealed or predetermined form. While consideration is in the family of empathy, we talked about putting people in your own shoes and trying to see things from other person's lenses. It is going ahead of yourself to think about how that thing will affect that person. This is a very important quality to check out for and build in any relationship that has love, whether it is erotic love or any other kind of love behind it. You cannot say that you love people and you are not considerate. Like, you cannot consider their feelings, you cannot consider their moments, and it doesn't even concern you how they are getting along. So consideration is important, and this is awesome. We all know already that you can love without giving, but you cannot give without love. Okay, you can give without loving, says Dr. David Oyedepo. He says that you can give without loving, but you cannot love without giving. So giving goes with love. So if you say that you are in love and you lack the character called generosity, then you need to build it. You need to build that character called generosity, because you cannot love without giving. They said that where your heart is, where your treasure is, there your heart is. So your treasure always follows that thing that captivates your heart. So it's very, very important for you to also know that generosity and giving are key things that you should embrace in your relationship. Finally, can bad character affect love and submission? We mentioned something along these lines in the first week that I spoke, and the answer again is yes. There are common things that cause heartbreaks, and if you look at them very well, they have to do with poor character traits. I'll reel out some of them within the about 4 minutes that I have, so that you can take note of them. And please, what to do with them is not just to pamper them and say, oh, this is who I am, I've tried, I'm not able to work on it. No, you can work on it. Every time you see a weakness around your brand, what to do is to work on it. You do, yes, number one, come to a point where you can accept that, oh yes, I can be like that, and then have accountability partners. If there's any of the things you wish you heard in today's session and you're not hearing, I bet you all you need to do is go to Mind Your Character YouTube page, and you will find out that that has been discussed in the course of the month. So, common causes of heartbreaks, and I'm picking out the character names for them so that you know that bad character affects love relationship. So no matter how enduring any love relationship is, when it meets bad character, it will fall. Ultimately, it might be very enduring, but at a point it will not be able to stand again. So number one is cheating, and cheating is as a result of a poor character trait called infidelity or unfaithfulness. Cheating. So they say that, oh, why did you step out of the marriage? He cheated on me. But you see, there's something at the root of cheating called infidelity or indiscipline. So there's a family of traits that can bring about indiscipline, can bring about cheating. It's a negative character trait. The positive side is discipline. Infidelity, the positive side is fidelity. And then I've forgotten the third one I mentioned, but again, these are all families of toxic traits that causes heartbreak and destroy relationships. So when I say that this month I've been talking about character, love, and relationship, I also need you to know that there are poor traits. I told you the day I was talking about communication that communication has a character tilt to it. So there's a character of communication. When you do not have the right attitude around or values around communication, you either under communicate, over communicate, or no communication at all. What communication causes is mistrust. So anywhere you see that trust is missing or trust is dwindling, check very well. The root cause is something around communication, but that's not all, because there are a whole lot of things that erode trust. Another thing is bad mannerisms. Bad mannerisms can also cause damage to a relationship. So bad manners, bad behaviors, poor conduct. What do you need to do to that? Just work on them. If you need to go to a finishing school where you can learn how to unlearn, relearn, and learn those things, why not? Is it not better than losing your relationship? Someone says you drag your foot on the ground when you walk. It makes me feel sick when I listen to it. I say, I don't know, you are the first person who ever told me that anything is wrong with excuse me. Be teachable. So behind that attitude you just put up is the negative trait called unteachability. That is, you are not teachable. When you are teachable, you may say something like, oh, do you know you are the first person calling my attention? I'm glad you did. I will look out for it. Or anytime you hear me walking like that again, can you please call my attention to it so that I can do something about it? And gradually, before you know, you help that person help you come out of it. Okay? Lack of empathy, that goes without saying. So when you're not empathetic, it can destroy a relationship. Someone say this place is paining me. You're like, okay. There should be, it's love relationship we are saying here. So there are expectations. So when you don't even know there are expectations in a relationship, you are wrong. That means you need to learn because there are expectations. But you see, expectation can go toxic when they become over expectation. When you over expect things, it becomes unrealistic for the other person to fulfill. So finally, the month of February ends today, but love encounters, love commitments, Valentine's experience, beautiful homes, partnership, relationships, families should not end with the month. So don't go and fold all your ideas about great relationship up till next year February. Don't do that. Consistency is a good trait. It means that you continue in spite of all odds. And that's the only person or the only people who can carry the day and have true joy. So that has been Mind Your Character today with Bosede Olusola-Obasa. What I've discussed today is a whole lot, but you can put it at, don't put your marriage on, don't put your relationship on autopilot. Don't put your relationship on autopilot. One of the reasons you shouldn't is when you see things that can destroy the relationship, bother to work on it, because you can get better. Nobody is a finished product. Everybody is WIP, work in progress. This is Bosede Olusola-Obasa wishing you a beautiful month of March starting tomorrow. I trust that it's going to be a very great month, and that month will answer to his name in your life and in all that has to do with you. Thank you so very much. And for those who attended our training last Saturday, gracias. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. What other thank you do I have? Mumawo. Which language is that? Korea. Okay. And namaste. Yes, for India. Thank you so much to everyone who attended our customer service in business game plan session. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And so how you can get the training videos, should you want it, will be on our website very soon. Our website is undergoing revamp, and very soon you'll be able to access any and everything that we offer there. Of course, some of them might be at a shaking money. Don't worry, we don't tear your pocket when we charge you. Thank you, Annie. Annie says amazing session. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Olusola-Obasa. He has been making it a point of duty to follow Mind Your Character. Well done. I appreciate you. And thank you, Mr. Timothy Fatubaro. And thank you, the back end team here, Debbie and Molara. God bless you. We want to go and have our weekend. We deserve it. We want you to have a beautiful weekend as well. Please keep working on yourself. Don't ever tell yourself that you have reached that point where you cannot grow. That's autopilot. Autopilot works for plane. If you do it for your relationship, comes down crashing. Don't forget not to be totally predictable. Once in a while, just show some surprises. It adds flavor and beauty. There's a way it brings the youth in your partner out. Take care of yourself. Bye everyone. God bless you. And my music